What about, that brings us to the Broadways. Can you talk about those years a little bit? You guys put out a lot of great material when you were in the Broadways.
You know, when we started the Broadways, we were, I think this is the only time I've ever had this feeling, we were just like convinced that we were the best band in the world, and it was just like a matter of time before everybody realized that we were, you know, a phenomenon. But that never happened. I mean, instead, like, we never had any fans. Like, as a band, being in the Broadways was a very difficult time because, like, we got a lot of, like, negative backlash based on the fact that we were not slapstick. We didn't sound like slapstick. And we got a lot of negative backlash based on the fact that, like, we were three guys just, like, really banging away at our instruments, really kind of, like, gutturally screaming. None of the three of us really particularly sing. And, I mean, you know, looking back, you know, in retrospect, I guess maybe there's, like, a charm to that or whatever, but it just didn't play. You know what I mean? It didn't go over well. There was never a point in the... If everybody that was actually if everybody that says now that they were at a Broadway show and they loved it was actually back in Broadway shows loving it, the Broadways might still be banned. I mean, like, it was a miserable experience. Nobody came out, and the people that did came out fucking hated it. You know?
That was also kind of like the way Tuesday was accepted as well, kind of, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know what the fact is, though? Like, eventually the Broadways developed this sort of, like, weird, like, crusty following, which was very, very minuscule. But there was, like, these kids that, like, really latched on to, like, the sort of, like, the political, like, that sort of, like, proto against me kind of thing. Not that we ever had nearly the impact of against me or anything, but, you know, it was sort of, like, vaguely reminiscent of that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, your lyrical content when you were writing songs for Broadway was, I'd say it was probably some of your most socio-political, self-aware, self-questioning, you know, material, you know, that you wrote. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that was sort of the idea of the band, but, like, Tuesday was too mature of a band for how immature the audiences were.
Yeah.
They were going, you know what I mean? They were like an indie rock band, and they were playing in front of, like, 19-year-old ska kids. And it's just like, it's just not going to work. So that band was kind of doomed, I think. I mean, no diss to the band. They were an awesome band, but they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everyone expected slapstick. Now I got some fan questions. I've been posting stuff on blogs and whatever. I got some fans that want to ask you some questions that I'm going to read to you. But before we get into that, real quick, is your ban from playing the Warped Tour still in effect? And I know you've talked a lot about this over the years, but elaborate on your hatred for that giant, I call it a shitfest.
Yeah, well, okay. The first part of that is, I don't know if our ban is still in effect. I mean, that was like the kind of thing that was happened. I don't really want to go into like all the politics of this too much because
yeah, sure.
It's just so old that it's just like not really important anymore. But like, let me just suffice it to say that if our ban is not in effect still, which I doubt it is, I doubt Kevin Lyman even gives two shits about the Lawrence Arms. The reason we wouldn't be playing the Warped Tour, besides the fact that I fucking hate the Warped Tour, you know, just on a purely mechanical level of like the day-to-day shittiness of being on that fucking tour, is because like we're not a popular band to play on the Warped Tour. You know, like our band now comes mostly from the fact that we're not that popular of a band. It's not so much like any sort of like deep-seated mutual disdain. It's just like that is a company that's like, you know, run on the bottom line, and the bottom line is they need, you know, Under Oath and like those kind of fucking bands on the Warped Tour in order to bring in the kids. And we don't bring in kids. We bring in like sweaty old men who want to like fucking drink a ton of beers, and they don't want to pay $14 for each beer, so therefore they're not going to go see us at the Warped Tour. So that's the reason that we're not going to be on the Warped Tour fundamentally. And why do I hate the Warped Tour? Because it totally fucking stinks, man. You know, like it's just like there are a lot of great reasons to hate the Warped Tour. You know, but like. I just want to distill this because I've said it too many times, and you know I get sick of saying the same old thing over and over again. Yeah. You can like refer to a lot of places online to see like where I've like typed out specifically my issues, but the beginning and end of it is this, man. When I got into punk rock, I was so impressed that there was this place where people could go, and there was these bands that were just as awesome, better than the bands that were on the radio, better than the bands that were on MTV, better than the bands that were being playing in these stadiums. They were playing in these tiny little rooms, and they were like singing these songs that were so personal to like to me, and then like there's this like scene that was a part of it, this completely underground, like almost black market economy that thrived around these bands that I didn't even know existed. And these people had the T-shirts, and all these kids would come out to the shows, and like there was like this cool thing, but nobody knew about it, and it was just like intimate and personal and cool, and you looked for it, you know, and you had to look for it to find it. And now like the embodiment of punk rock is like going out to like a big fucking outdoor arena and like spending, you know, $50 to get in, and like standing in the back while some band plays on a stage. Like, it's like, I thought that the reason we all got into this in the first place was to get away from that kind of shit.
Right.
Not fucking do it again. So that's sort of what I hate about the Warped Tour. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, man. It pretends to be like the ultimate embodiment of punk rock, but to me it's like the exact opposite of punk rock.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like political reasons I don't like it also, but...
No, man, you couldn't have said it more perfectly, brother. Now, what I got here, I got some questions that I collected through email. Some of your fans got some questions for you, and they're questions that I wouldn't ask, but if they're listening, I think it would. I think it would satisfy them a little bit, and try to have a good sense of humor about this. Tina Stevens of Chicago, she wants to know, are you really as depressed as you sound in a lot of your songs? And if you are, she says she can help you with that. Whatever.
Ooh. Tell her she can send me nudes. No, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like I am a introspective person, and like I get depressed about sort of not only just like the state of the world, but the state of myself and like my own personal like community, in my family and in my circle of friends. It's life is depressing, man. It's like but there's a lot of things out there that are designed to get you down, but I mean, like those are sort of like the moments that are impetus for me to create things, and that's how I work through those things. I mean, like I don't think that the depression in like Lawrence Armstrong is without hope. And I mean, that's how I feel like in my life too. It's like, yeah, I mean, like shit gets me down for sure. That's how life is, man. Shit'll get you down. But
you gotta pick yourself back up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you gotta pick yourself back up, and you can't dwell on it, but you need to recognize it. And that's a big part of like what playing music is to me. It's just like recognizing, putting in perspective the feelings that I'm having or whatever.
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer, if you want to take it seriously. And the last question, and you don't have to answer this if you don't really want to, but Sean Ladd of Oak Park, he wants to know the real reason the Broadways call it quits.
Because no one came to our shows. We didn't have any fans. It was miserable being in that band, so we broke up. I mean, like, there's never been a secret about that. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember one time I was sitting with Dan Hanaway, and it was, I don't remember, I think it might have been on an Honor System Lawrence Arms tour, and somebody came up and said, how come the Broadway broke up? And he turned around and he goes, because you never came to our shows. It was like, and it was true. I mean, I was just like, oh, that is a fucking great answer, man. Yeah, right. But yeah, it's like, it's like, like, you can only fucking stand up in front of people and, like, have people throw batteries and shit at you for so long before you're like, oh, well, this kind of sucks. Maybe we should do something else.
Right. Brendan, that's all I got for you, man. You got anything else you want to shout out? Did we miss anything? We covered the shows coming up at the end of October.
Well, I got a blog I update almost every day, which is badsandwichchronicle.blogspot.com.
Okay.
And, yeah, so check that out. And, look forward to the next 10 years, whatever.
Good deal, man. Brendan, thanks for being a good sport, man. I appreciate your time.
No worries, buddy. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Thanks again.
All right, talk to you soon.